Here we go. Hey guys, welcome to a very last minute put together of the morning brief. I had like a huge day of podcasts and just woke up this morning. I didn't make it to the gym this morning. It was just like too busy. And just was able to get Jimmy on last second. Weren't able to get together with anyone else. And we're going to breeze through the show. We are limited on time, so we are going straight to Scream Share. But Jimmy, how you doing? Good?
I am good, man. I don't know about you, but I worked out this morning, so I am feeling awesome. But
I worked out the last 3 days. I'm skipping today. I'll be back tomorrow. I spent like all yesterday, most of my day at like as of 5 p.m. at the bathhouse till like 11 p.m. Like 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Wait, you work out at the bathhouse?
No, I didn't work out. No, I worked out in the morning.
Okay.
I was in the sauna all day last night. It feel great though. All right. Quick update on Unconfiscatable. I don't know why these pictures aren't loading. I tried it on my phone. I tried it on the website. I don't know. We'll fix it today. Not much update. So I don't know how many seats are left for the carnivory dinner. I think maybe one. I thought I saw someone register yesterday. And we're down to 40 tickets at the 0.15 price of Bitcoin. We'll talk more about this after. Let's jump right into the stories. For some reason yesterday, like nobody was watching this live. Like YouTube didn't notify anyone. So I hope it's a little bit better today. But other than that, hey, so our first, it's a lead into our first story. Apparently Blythe Masters has called it quits. And how will you remember her, Jimmy? So she was the CEO of Digital Asset Holdings. They took over Hyperledger. They then donated Hyperledger to IBM. And how will you remember her stay in blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, she's one of the original purveyors of. Can you hear me? Hello?
Or was it me?
I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
You guys hear Jimmy?
I'm guessing maybe. I don't know. Okay, well, anyway.
What's going on?
All right. Well, so Blythe Mathers is like the original like blockchain, not Bitcoin kind of person. So you knew this was inevitable because there's nothing really there. Yeah. So this is kind of sad, but you know, I mean, it was inevitable. Apparently they have a deep bench of bank executives that will continue to take over. So we'll see what happens exactly. Tone is working on his audio, so I'll just sort of keep talking about this. It's really kind of sad, like that this company raised so much money in the first place. It was really just a form of serious malinvestment. The fact that she's gone is a good thing. The fact that this company hasn't really produced anything in a long time is an indication of how misallocated that capital was. So you know, we'll continue to see more of that happen to these blockchain, not Bitcoin companies. Tone, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I have no idea what happened there, so I put headphones on. So I only heard like the last sentence what you said, but I'm sure it was very good. I will completely mimic that. Blythe Masters had no business being in the blockchain space. She knew absolutely nothing. We all knew that this was going to end in a disaster. We talked about it. So let's move on to her actual project that she didn't know what to do with, and hence donated it to IBM. And it's very, very clear from this headline that IBM also has no clue what to do with this project. This is, of course, the Hyperledger project. I always go back to the day I learned about Hyperledger. It's a story from like 2014 days when it was at the New York Bitcoin Center. I had been talking to Dan O'Prey, the creator of Hyperledger. He was still working on it. This is way before Blythe Masters. And so he seemed like a really cool guy. We were at the Bitcoin Center. We're hanging out at the bar. And I'm asking him to explain Hyperledger to me. And he's explaining it to me. And I was a noob. I was like 2014. He's explaining Hyperledger to me. And I keep looking at him. And I'm like, I don't get it. And then he explained it to me again. And I'm like, but I don't get it. And then I walked away from that day. And I'm like, I think I'm an idiot. I don't think I belong here. I just don't understand what the hell this is. And then like it was like probably a year and a half later, I go, oh, I wasn't supposed to get it. It never made any freaking sense. Like that's basically how that went. So now, I will say I've never called Hyperledger a scam. I don't believe Hyperledger is a scam because they never had a scammy token. It was just a useless project that never made any sense. And apparently there's all this infighting over what is open source and what isn't open source. I don't understand how this is relevant. They're all just databases. Jimmy, any thoughts?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It doesn't make any sense. And again, this is another one of those blockchain, not Bitcoin projects that hasn't produced anything. They've been in existence, like you said, for at least 4 years, and they haven't produced anything. So, I mean, how long do you have to like wait, or how much runway do these projects get before people decide, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't be focusing on blockchain. Maybe we should be focusing on Bitcoin instead. There's a reason why these guys aren't producing anything. It's because the technology doesn't make any sense for the use cases that they're purporting to use it for. Most often, these companies come out with a proof of concept, and then they don't do anything with it because they realize it's like way too expensive and would be too complicated to implement into any system. And it's inferior to any sort of centralized solution that they could come up with. So it makes sense that they're probably infighting. I would probably characterize it more as, not making any headway. I mean, they're trying to spin it as some sort of like a power play because there's something valuable in there. It's probably more infighting because nobody's doing anything with it, and everyone's looking bad, so they're trying to change leadership, something like that.
Have you ever heard of the Sawtooth supply chain before 3 minutes ago?
No, I have not. Intel backed, huh?
Yeah, no, I love this part. 9 of the 11 technical steering committee members voted in favor of the new project on December 6th. The approval of the Sawtooth supply chain as a high-level project massively heightens its profile and means it enters Hyperledger's formal project lifecycle and receives the support which goes along with that community. Oh my God, like this is just going from ridiculous to like moon style ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it sound like exactly like like what would come out of like a government committee or something like that? This is exactly what happens when you have centralized committees that want to sound important. Is like, oh, it's entering the life cycle of Hyperledger projects or something like. This is exactly what like Ethereum sounds like when they're like, okay, well now Casper is in this like particular state now, and it's doing this and that. It's like formalized language that means nothing, and this is how you can tell it's all BS.
This is great.
It means nothing. It's proof of press release, as Giacomo would say.
Yeah, no, this article is like unreasonably long. Like I didn't read all of it the first time. I just scrolled all the way to the bottom. True Blue. Elsewhere at last week's Hyperledger forum in Basel, Switzerland, some important members of the community took the opportunity to show their respect for IBM. Casey Kuhlman, CEO of Monax, ever heard of Monax?
Nope.
Said the fact that the Sawtooth supply chain project has been brought under the auspices of Hyperledger speaks for itself. Despite misgivings, IBM ultimately did not stand in the project's way because they don't know what it is, probably. He said, adding to the opinion, Big Blue. Ever heard of Big Blue or True Blue? Which is it? Is it True Blue or is it Big Blue?
I don't know. I think IBM used to be known as Big Blue because they were like the ultimate blue chip stock or something like that. I have no idea what the hell they're talking about, but this is like.
But it sounds important. But it sounds
exactly
so
right. It's all about social signaling and like, okay, this person says that it's good, so therefore it is good. It's not about like the merits of the technology at all. Oh God. Oh, this stuff pisses me off.
All right, this is great. Okay, so oh man. Oh, you said a word at the beginning and I wanted to like transition with that word. I already forgot. Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, so you were talking about these projects. So this is our transition, right? So I just saw this article this morning. Following $120 million funding round, Waves token jumps 30%. And I'm like, wait a minute. I remember Waves. They ICO'd in 2016. So I Googled that. So they ICO'd in 2016. They raised $16 million for their ICO. They ICO'd a little bit too early, and therefore they didn't make the $100 million that they expected. So $16 million for a piece of software that doesn't do anything was not enough. So they have now, in order to pump the price of their own token, which they created out of thin air, they raised additional money from investors. I mean, this is insane.
Wait, they raised 120 million? Or
right here. Waves raised 120 million in private funding round. This happened yesterday. Private funding, they raised $120 million for its new project, and that pumped the token that they ICO'd and made 16 million on from 2016.
Huh. And like, does it sounds like it's a new project. Is it specifically for the ICO, or is it something else completely?
Well, no, I mean, like, it's probably a whole new project, right? But you have a centralized company called Waves. They created an unlicensed, unregistered security in complete violation of all security laws by ICOing the Waves token that is just like the Ethereum token. I mean, Waves is no different than Ethereum, right? It's another Ethereum clone out of Russia. That's the only real difference. And okay, don't quote me on any of this. My shitcoin knowledge is limited. So they created this token to be just like the Ethereum token, right? Now, I mean, obviously they don't know what the hell to do with this thing. No one is using it. It's totally useless. So you say, hey, let's come up with another white paper, but we don't want to do another ICO because ICOs are dead, but we have a token that we created and we have. So if we come up with a good idea and get a bunch of investors to invest in it, maybe our token will pump that we created 2 years ago in an ICO. So this is a blueprint for all the other ICOs that are currently out there that are down in the dumps. So basically, hey, come up with another white paper, privately funded to be in compliance with the laws, and then your prior token that wasn't in compliance with the laws will probably pump on the proof of news.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what Ripple's been doing forever. Is they
yeah, pretty much. Good point. Very good point.
They you know, it's like completely separate from the XRP token. They'll do some press release and that will pump XRP for some reason. And you know, and they'll explicitly say in the press release, this has nothing to do with the XRP token, but it'll still pump the XRP token. It's like
right.
There's this perception.
Right. Yeah. It's like Apple. It's like Apple coming out and say, we just come up with new tech. We're gonna give you, or like Google, we're gonna give you Google glasses that are gonna do this amazing thing. By the way, this has nothing to do with our company stock. Do not assume that our company stock has anything to do with the new product that we're creating.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because like this sounds like it's founder is making like a new company and somehow that pumps his old company. It's I don't know. A lot of this is just sort of like market reaction to like expectations that people will be stupid enough to buy something just based on you know, proof of association or something like that.
Right. Okay. So our final shitcoin story of the day before we move on to some actual real news is, of course, Coinbase, the punching bag of the last couple of years. And what I consider the most incompetent company in the space that, as far as I know, by some miracle has not yet been hacked. So Coinbase is giving away shitcoins if you learn about those shitcoins. So they, of course, starting with the 0x scam coin. And by teaching you 0x, you will get a bunch of 0x. And they will do this with all of the other like altcoins and ICOs and God knows what else they are holding. Now, there were some awesome tweets about this. One of them was by Saifedean replying to Balaji. I thought Balaji left the space. I thought he was working for Trump. Why is he back?
No, he's not. He was CEO of Earn, and Earn got acquired by Coinbase for $100 million.
Wait, he had another stupid company in the crypto space besides the 21 disaster?
No, 21 pivoted several times and it became Earn.com.
Really?
And then they got acquired by Coinbase for $100 million.
Oh, that was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of people asking questions about that because I did not think that company was worth $100 million. I mean, get paid for email, really? That's worth $100 million? I didn't think so, but somehow that's
okay. Got it. So Balaji's 21 stupid project got pivoted to Earn. And then hey, good for Balaji, man. He got his shit sold to Coinbase for $100 million.
Yes, he did.
Anyway, so what was the original tweet?
Well, so basically it was
there we go, Saifedean. Right. So here's Saifedean's tweet. We're doing this for the audio podcast. So Saifedean wrote, Coinbase's latest shitcoin pump fest could be added to my book as an object lesson. They give away shitcoins for free because it's easy money and costs nothing to make. They don't give Bitcoin away for free because it's hard money. They instead ask Bitcoiners for donations. And that came as a reply to Balaji's tweet that says, question, would you donate Bitcoin for Bitcoin education if we set up an earn page for Bitcoin 100% to users? When did he send this? That was yesterday. We actually mentioned we were thinking about this in the blog. Yeah. Right. So they can't give Bitcoin away because they can't create Bitcoin out of thin air. But they're giving away all of these other shit coins because they could if you learn and get scammed into understanding them or misunderstanding them.
Yeah. So from what I understand, the 0x guys did a large pre-mine, and they're taking some of that pre-mine, giving it to Coinbase or Earn.com, and they are using that to fund this quote unquote education initiative where you get paid some amount of 0x coins if you learn about 0x. It's really kind of pay for listing as far as I can tell. It's if you give them some of the pre-mine, then Coinbase will give you a platform to get some users and basically bribe their customers into learning about these things and maybe come on the platform themselves. So it's kind of ridiculous. I can't believe Coinbase. I mean, the one thing
I can believe it. Nothing surprises me with Coinbase, man. I've said it for a while now. If there's like 5 ways to do something, Coinbase, and 5 is the worst, they will find the 6th.
Well, I mean, like other exchanges have been like taking listing fees and like being pretty blatant about it. Coinbase, at least as up to this point, hasn't done that. They're finally in that game of taking listing fees, and mostly from pre-mine coins because they're the only ones that are going to be able to afford like giving away that much. So, it's kind of we'll see how the market reacts, but I imagine this is an easy way to make sure that your coin dumps like crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man, people were right. Like the IQ comment, I really want to play it. Hold on a second. Let me, Saifedean's, you saw that video, right? Like, I wonder, I don't know at what timestamp it is. Jesus Christ, I can't stand these freaking cookie things.
Well, I mean, so I mean, we could just sort of paraphrase basic.
I want to find it. I wish they had a timestamp.
Yeah, nobody really gave like a good summation of where the timestamps are and stuff on that one. So it's gonna be it's gonna take some time unless somebody happens to know it.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the live chat now.
Or something like that, and we can play it later.
Yeah, but basically, like when Saifedean was debating this guy and he was talking about all of these altcoins, Saifedean says, well, all of these shit coins are an IQ test, and if you buy into them, you failed.
It's absolutely correct. It's an easy way to call people that don't know what the heck they're like, that don't do their own research.
Yeah, no, that's now my new favorite Saifedean like random quote. My other favorite is in a similar context when he said, look, I'm sorry, what he says, look, I'm not interested in additional currency just because, how did he say? He's like, your currency doesn't need an additional function. He's like, the Zimbabwe dollar doesn't interest me because it serves as better toilet paper. That was another one of his greatest comments.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to a real story. Enough fun.
Well, you didn't point out the whale panda thing, because the reply was hilarious, because, well, I don't know if you got blocked by Brian Armstrong. It looks like
I did. I believe so. Hold on. Yes.
Yeah, he's blocked you. So Whale Panda was like, your CEO hasn't said the word Bitcoin in like forever, and then Brian Armstrong replies with just the word Bitcoin, and it was a very clever troll by him. But Whale Panda's basic, what he's saying here is absolutely correct. They're now sort of trying to become a little friendlier to the Bitcoin community, trying to put out fig leaves and things like, or I'm not fig leaves. I don't know what do you call those things that when you do peace? Maybe it is a fig leaf. Whatever. They're trying to make peace with the Bitcoin community a little bit. Brian Armstrong is actually saying the word Bitcoin again. Maybe he'll unblock you after he sees this. I have no idea.
I doubt it. The thing is, like, blocking people. Like, yeah, that took me really hard to get around the block, right? Like, look, I block people because I don't want to hear them. I don't block people because I don't want them to hear me. I block, like basically, if you're a shitcoiner with the shitcoin logo and you reply to my tweets, you will probably get blocked. Like I blocked, like I tweeted something out about the Digibyte, shitcoin. And like 40 people replied with their Digibyte logos as their avatars, and all of them got blocked. No. I don't want to see their replies. Like, I don't want to see you. That's why you're being blocked. Like, if I block you, that means I will never see you on my timeline. I don't block people to prevent them from seeing me. Go and see me in incognito window. You never get unblocked, by the way. So you really want to be careful in replying to my tweets. I never unblock anyone. I don't unblock ever. I just don't have the time to deal with unblocking people. So, so I don't know if you've seen this. Like, how does someone go from this to being a complete, like, dumbass?
You're talking about Brian Armstrong?
Yeah. Well, so here's some tweets from 2015. Ripple, Stellar, and altcoins are all a distraction. Bitcoin is way too far ahead. We should be focused on Bitcoin and sidechains. He followed up his own tweet. Thought I was perhaps stating the obvious. The overall trend has been clear for a year or so now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Coinbase is that they are using the regulatory regime to their advantage. There aren't that many competitors to Coinbase in the United States, in large part because there's way too many money transmission laws and stuff. That they're very good at getting the right licenses in each state and things like that. And the thing about Brian is he used to be more into Bitcoin, but then he realized like there's a lot more money to be made if he like pumped shitcoins and stuff like that. Ethereum, he's brought a ton of different altcoins onto his platform. He's now like using stuff like 0x to pump and get more customers. And they have like an $8 billion valuation, which seems kind of high to me, to be honest. But his thing was he supported 2x. I think he wanted to be more influential in the development of Bitcoin. And I think he felt like he had a right to it to some degree, just because, I mean, to be fair, he did cause at least a little bit of the adoption of Bitcoin by having a nice fiat on-ramp. But, like after, that whole drama sort of didn't end in his favor, he told every media outlet out there that, Bitcoin broke his heart and, he wasn't paying as much attention to it. He was saying stuff like Ethereum's a lot easier to develop on and stuff like that. In a sense, he became a dumbass, as you say, because his financial interests were aligned with being a dumbass. And that's kind of what happens to a lot of people. They get corrupted by the money, and it's hard to convince a man to be convinced of something when their livelihood and profits depend on it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Jimmy, I do want to move on, but we did just get like a 10 pound tip, and this will be a long discussion. Maybe we'll save it for later. I'll read the question. We're not going to get into it because then you and I are going to get into an argument. It says, can you guys tell me, please, if you think something such as Decred, example, Bitcoin contributors, may serve as a smaller store of value one day to Bitcoin? My answer is no. I know Jimmy has a soft spot for some of the Decred guys and maybe a little bit for the project. I don't. I do not respect that project. I do not respect the people that built that project. If they were true Bitcoin developers, they would stay on Bitcoin. They wouldn't come up with, shittier money. But I think Jimmy has a little bit of a soft spot there.
Well, so I mean, they do contribute to Bitcoin. I mean, BTCD is the base from which LND is formed, and Lightning.
No, and that's great, I just think that they should not have invented shittier money.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Decred, they're technically interesting. I wouldn't say that they would end up as a smaller store of value one day. I mean, their governance model is very much more like a democracy and less sort of like you get to control your own node. You have to sort of go with whatever the majority says. And I'm not sure that's the right model necessarily. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that, they do something interesting. I don't. Store of value tends to accumulate to the biggest player, and Bitcoin has that scarcity network effect. I'm not sure that Decred gets it.
Let me ask you this then, right? Like, what was stopping them from testing out their governance model as like a Bitcoin sidechain using Bitcoin, other than they wanted like their own money?
Well, sidechains weren't around when they started making it, and they're still not really around. I mean, like Liquid only launched in the last few months, right? And Paul Stork's Drive Chains is still on testnet, so that's not available either. So, I mean, like back when they started developing it, right? It just didn't exist.
My point is this, right? If they're testing out a new governance model and a new, I guess, one new governance model of what, like software upgrades governance model?
Yeah. So, they want to do Lightning. They want to do lots of other stuff. And they basically ask the community to vote via proof of stake. That's how that works.
Right. But like, is there a way to like, hey, you lock up a certain amount of Bitcoin and you move into this side governance model with the same Bitcoin, and but you're using those? Is that something that's possible in the future? Like how do you?
Yeah, I mean that's basically what Liquid and a sidechain is. But that didn't exist when they started developing it. So yeah.
All right. Anyway, we'll probably talk more about this in the future. Let me know if you see any. Oh wait, oh shit, I wasn't sharing the incognito window. My bad. Sorry, I went to an incognito window to show the fact that I can read all of Brian Armstrong's tweets, but my screen share was set to the normal window, so I didn't. No one actually saw.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what that was about.
Yeah. So that it was.
Go on to the next story if you want. Let's.
Yeah, no, it was basically this. Like once you're in incognito window. And that's what I mean. Like I can see Brian Armstrong's reply. Like you're not stopped from looking at other people's tweets. It's very, very simple. But the reason why I block is to prevent stupid people from posting to my timeline, not to prevent them from seeing what I have to say. Anyway, all right, let's
move on to the next story.
Yeah, let's move on to the screen sharing has stopped. Yes, I'm aware. Let's move on to the. All right, here we go. Let's move on to the last story. And this is the update on Schnorr and Taproot, the upgrades. Jimmy, this is your domain. Please educate us, especially me.
Yeah, so AJ Towns, Anthony Towns, he's a core developer out of Australia. I got to see him when I was in Sydney not too long ago. But he's made a proposal for SegWit version 1. So if you don't know what that means, basically one of the things that SegWit did is it allowed for a very clear upgrade path. So we're right now on SegWit version 0. That's the initial version of SegWit, and that uses ECDSA. It has transaction malleability fixes, quadratic hashing fixes, a lot of other things, Bec32 addresses, things like that. Those are all part of SegWit version 0. So the next sort of big upgrade is as a soft fork is SegWit version 1. And what this is introducing is a bunch of changes at the same time. So they want to include a lot of stuff that will in the future support Lightning Network and things like that. Among other things, we have Snore Signatures, which is a much simpler implementation than something like ECDSA and faster. So and it allows a lot of privacy. You can do multi-sig without letting people know that it's multi-sig. As far as the on-chain transaction is concerned, it has no idea if it's a one of one or like 7 of 7. It really has no clue because you get signature and pub key aggregation. You have Taproot, which is from Greg Maxwell, which gives you privacy around what the conditions under which a particular output can get unlocked. So you don't know if it's multi-sig or single sig, or if it has like multiple branches of execution. You only reveal the branch that unlocked it later. You also have sig hash no input, which is very useful for Lightning. This allows Lightning channels to be a lot more dynamic and require less on-chain transactions. All of that is sort of being accumulated and put into sort of like a big release, which would be SegWit version 1. Of course, SegWit version 0 was a very contentious soft fork. And it resulted in like Bitcoin Cash, among other things. We don't think that SegWit version 1 will be nearly as contentious, largely because a lot of those people that were opposed to it basically left, right? They're now,
which is great, which is awesome.
Yeah, Bitcoin ABC.
Another IQ test. It was another IQ test.
So a lot of this is really cool. Op mask is a very clever idea that allows signing of a transaction, that does without like making it good for multiple types of transactions without committing to a very specific one and things like that. There's also op success semantics, which allows a lot of extensions later on and things like that. But it's a soft fork, and this will probably be all accumulated together. It's very exciting. I'm not sure how long this will take. There's a lot of things going on in this one, and a lot of code that has to get reviewed, especially because it's consensus critical. It's a soft fork and things like that. But that's the major thing coming down the pike, and this is the first real solid proposal of all the things that we want to get in this SegWit version 1, which will be very good going forward.
Sounds awesome. I have nothing to add other than this. So spending a little time with Adam Back over in Chile, man, can't believe you didn't make that conference. It was good. It was me, Luke Dash, Giacomo, and Adam Back. We're like spent a bunch of time just chatting about this stuff. So Schnorr is apparently more, like every month I learn how more amazing Schnorr is. So it's a block size increase. It's a huge privacy boost. And from what Adam Back explained to me, it's actually, it goes not all the way, but it makes this whole, fear-mongering campaign against Bitcoin with quantum computers a lot harder. So I don't know what it is in there that does that, but apparently Adam Back said that, hey, once Schnorr gets in, the whole quantum computers will destroy Bitcoin problem gets significantly, we get significantly protected against quantum computers.
I think that's overblown anyway. But yeah, the reason for that is because Schnorr uses hash functions, and if you use a hash function, they're harder for quantum computers basically to reverse. They're not quite quantum safe. There are algorithms that you can possibly use, but again, like the quantum computers are just like way overrated, and like Vitalik used to like
You beat me
chime
to
in
it.
on that stuff, and he thought that he could make like a quantum computing company before he got into Ethereum and stuff.
I'm sure he still does.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, because if you actually look at the physics of quantum computing, you have to have like nano degrees above absolute zero for the computation to occur, and you have to like keep all of these like quantum states on all these like quantum gates, and they have like exponential decay and stuff like that. And if you don't like, observe something in time, like it gets insane. There's not even like a single instance of quantum supremacy as far as we can tell. So it's an overblown fear, and it's only there because people can imagine it being something that can topple it, but the engineering reality is like nowhere near there. So I think it's just kind of a ridiculous overhyped thing in general anyway.
All right, very cool. Jimmy, thank you for joining us today. I know you have to run. You have another commitment, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But I am really curious about the price, because I think everyone wants to know, Tone, are we out of the bear market? Are we going back up? What's going on, man?
Well, we're going back up, but I don't believe we are out of the bear market. I've been looking for a bounce back to 5,000 or 6,000 ever since we broke below 5. Now, obviously, if we had reversed from the mid to high 4,000 range, expecting it to bounce back to 5 is not much of a prediction. So had we bounced from the 4,000 range, I was expecting us to go all the way back to 6 before more downside, because we fell all the way to just above 3,000. I am expecting for us to hit 5,000 on this run. Probably not 6. I'm only expecting 5, maybe 5 and change. But unfortunately, the bear market is not yet over. I am now of the belief that altcoins can't rise with Bitcoin when the bear market eventually ends. And the way I know this is by looking at Ethereum, and I see Ethereum pumping along with Bitcoin. This tells me that the bear market has not ended. The bear market will end when you see a similar percent rise in Bitcoin, but the altcoins will either be flat or down on a similar rise to Bitcoin. So unfortunately, the bear market is not over, but I am bullish at the moment. I am bullish short term, maybe even slight intermediate term. I think we can continue to rise into next year, maybe as far as February, but it's going to come to an end. I'm still looking for sub $3,000 prices in the future. But for now, the going is good. I can get into more detail. Up to you if you want to stick around, Jimmy, or if you have any announcements.
Well, so I do want to pump my seminars in Las Vegas and London. They are also the locations of the next two conferences that I will be speaking at. Unconfiscatable, of course. Programming blockchain.
Yeah, I know. I was going there. It showed up, but I guess when I hit the button.
Yeah. There you go. But yeah, please sign up. And yeah, if you're interested in this stuff, I will be doing a talk on Neutrino in the February conference. Advancing Bitcoin is the other one, besides Unconfiscatable. But yeah, we'll have carnivory dinners at both events, so it'll be a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing a lot of you guys. And yeah, that's it for me. Thanks, Tone, for having me on your show. This song is done.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right. Yeah, definitely check out Jimmy's workshop. He's going to do it at Vegas the 2 days prior to the Unconfiscatable conference. And the next one will be in London. I will be speaking at that London event as well. Let me see if I have the link to that event in London. I have too many. I'm trying to get through my schedule. Everyone's hit me up to speak at their conferences. It's impossible to me to speak at all of them. I'm trying to find the London one. It's not that one. It's not this one. Man, I got like, I don't know. It's somewhere here. Is this it? I think this is it. think I found it. Hold on. Let me make sure. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, there's a conference going on in London. No, it's not on chain. Man, don't ever do this stuff on like live air. It never works. Is this it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right. If I find it, I'll show it to you guys. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the price. So here is the monthly chart of Bitcoin. And the monthly chart hasn't changed. It's going to change a lot today. So there's no reason of looking at it. We got 8 hours to go. So here's the weekly chart. The weekly chart is where it's all at. Look at this beautiful support of the 200 week moving average. Those that say TA doesn't work are crazy. This is exactly what a moving average is designed to do. The moving average is designed to support the price right in this area, just like the def cross right here was designed to reject the price. And the 50-period moving average, the 50-period moving average was designed to support the price right there in that area. So that's pretty much that's pretty much how TA works, and that's exactly how it worked in this particular case. Okay, so there you go. How high can this go? Well, no one really knows, other than I have certain resistance points, right? I think it will be very difficult to break the $5,000 line. We blew right through it, so it's not as difficult to break it had this line served as support, but we broke straight through it. It's not the craziest of resistances, other than being a nice round number. The more significant resistance takes place in the area of $6,000, and that's the combination of the breakdown area and the 30-period declining moving average. Okay, so I still think we can break the $5,000 area and get rejected somewhere soon after that. So somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000, I believe, is a decent place to take a break. By the way, I finally found the London conference. Oh wait, that's not going to work. So I finally found the London conference, so you can see it right here. I want to pull it up for you guys. All right, come on. Here it is. Okay, so that is the conference in London that both Jimmy and I will be speaking at. It's called Advancing Bitcoin, and it has a lot of core developers, including Jameson Lopp, Jimmy Maccarello, I think, and I will be there as well. I will probably moderate. I don't want to put my amazing ability to be a developer on display on stage at a Bitcoin Dev conference. Oh, Nicholas Dorier is there. Awesome. So yeah, really, really cool event in London in February. Not exactly where I want to be in February, but hey, it's a good Bitcoin conference. I'm there. So, all right, let's get back to price. Here's the daily chart. The daily chart looked like it was gonna bottom out somewhere lower. It did not. I've been expecting this bounce. Like I said, I've been short-term long Bitcoin now for a couple of weeks as this was happening, and I am very happy with my trade. Now, look, the CMF still looks very, very bad. This is not how you want your rebound to start. What you want for your rebound to start, and I am looking at the CMF a lot more these days than I did in the past. So what you want from your daily CMF, and this is Bitstamp too, it's not even like the crazy Bitfinex that usually messes it all up. So what you want from the CMF is you want the CMF to start creeping into the positive area before the rebound takes place. And when the rebound takes place, you want this whole thing, but on the opposite side of the zero line. So the CMF is telling me that this is a bit of a fake rally. Now, how long can this fake rally last? It can last all the way to $6,000, but I don't really expect it much above that. I know Tyler doesn't expect it much above 4,000 and change. I believe we can get and break 5,000 on this counter rally, but it is a counter rally. It is another dead cat bounce, though not so. So I wouldn't actually call this a dead cat bounce at this point, because there isn't there isn't too much room to the downside left. Like these were, oh, come on. You know what? After we do the law show later today, like all of these tabs will go away. Like I'll finally get finally, because like all these tabs have been here for a month, because that's how that was supposed to be the law show from a month ago. We're finally going to do it today at 4 p.m. Eastern. And like these were much cleaner dead cat bounces because it had so much more room to the downside. There's not as much room to the downside now, but this is still technically a dead cat bounce. How long can it last? It can last for months. Okay. Look, we can get to $5,500 tomorrow, or we can get to it at the end of, or we can get to it in March. Okay, we have nobody knows, right? All I know is that I don't expect Bitcoin to go to new all-time highs, and what's telling me that is the fact that Ethereum is also rising with Bitcoin. Shitcoins are also rising with Bitcoin. I believe that the next bull market for Bitcoin cannot happen with the shit coins. That is my view. You can disagree with that view, but this is my view. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't expect to be wrong. If I expected to be wrong, my view would be the opposite. Okay. I believe that Bitcoin bull market cannot begin unless it rises and separates itself from the shit coins. Just think about it. Think about it another way, guys. This really should be on a standalone show. But think about it from another perspective, right? Think about, hey, after the .com bubble, we had some very legitimate, I mean, like you guys are the ones that like to think about Bitcoin in terms of companies, not in terms of a protocol and in terms of money, right? But you had some very legitimate companies after the .com crash, like Amazon was still around, and, you know, Apple was around, and Microsoft was around. And did these legitimate companies go up into the next bull market of tech along with outright scam.coms that had no business, no clients, all they had was a website? And the answer is they did not. The answer is the garbage during the .com bubble died. And once that garbage died, then the legitimate companies rose. Now, as long as garbage is rising with legitimacy, and in crypto, the only legitimacy is Bitcoin. As long as garbage is rising with the legitimacy, the bear market is not over. We are still in a bear market. I will still expect lower prices unless I see garbage like Ethereum go down as the price of Bitcoin goes up. Okay, that is going to be my fundamental metric for the end of the bear market. I have a technical metric for the end of the bear market. I have a time metric for the end of the bear market, and I have a fundamental metric to the end of the bear market. Now, oh man, this really needs to be its own show. I only have like 8 minutes. I got like 8 more podcasts to do today and interviews. It's like my interview day. So look, there are technical factors, time factors, completely independent, fundamental factors, and also news events. Now, don't confuse news events with fundamental factors. Most of the new traders out there confuse news events with fundamental factors. For example, if the European currency breaks apart into its independent currencies of their countries, like Germany goes back to the Deutschmark, and the French go back to the franc, and the Italians go back to the lira, and so on, right? Now, if the European currency breaks up, I believe there is a huge boom to Bitcoin. I think people will flock into Bitcoin, and that is a news event. That's not a fundamental event, because you can't predict when the European currency is going to break apart. That is a news-driven event. Now, can a news-driven event change the outlook of Bitcoin and change Bitcoin from a bear market to a bull market? Absolutely, it can. Okay, a big enough news event that's on a global scale. Like generally, I say news does not change a bear market to a bull, but when it's on a grand scale like that, then it could. So a news event of, say, the euro breaking apart is huge, and that could cause a huge boom into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin can go to $20,000 overnight. But that's a news-driven event. That's not a fundamental-driven event, right? As far as fundamentals are concerned, it's all about Schnorr and Taproot and confidential transactions and bulletproofs and getting all that stuff into the Bitcoin code and some of the side chains that are happening that would destroy Ethereum and all the other shit coins, because you can build your ICO scams on top of Bitcoin in the near future if you wanted to. So anyway, so my fundamental outlook is very, very simple. If Bitcoin is rising with the shit coins, the bear market's not over. It really is that simple sometimes. It really is. Okay, short-term outlook. So Bitcoin is being rejected on a 12-hour scale by the setup trend resistance line that is currently sitting at 4,200. Now, remember, we got stuck at 4,200 for quite a while on the way down. So 4,200 is reasonable resistance. Let me see what it looks like. Well, not exactly 4,200, but that vicinity. And I think it's all about the next candle, right? It's all about the next 24 hours. Let's see what we can do. I don't believe we're going to break 4,200 in the next 24 hours. I think we just ran up a lot. The 12-hour is coming up to a 9. Look for a little bit of a slowdown in the uptrend, and then we can probably bust out next week around Christmas time, going into the new year. We can probably break out. I still think we can break 5,000 on this run. I still believe that. Bitcoin looks bullish to me. This looks like a move to the 9 that will hopefully the 9 will close just above 4130. We can close above the setup trend line. That sets us up for a short slowdown and then acceleration to the upside into the countdown phase to 13. Here's the 4-hour chart. See, this is the kind of CMF that you want, right? Not the one that we saw on the daily. You want the CMF to instantly flip from bearish to bullish. In fact, you really wanted the CMF to be creeping into positive territory before the big run-up. That gives you this beautiful divergence that you can time. So I do like this chart. We've broken yet another moving average on a 4-hour chart. And but we have ran away from the moving averages, the shorter term moving averages. I would love to see a pullback. If we go into 4,200, then we pull back into 3,800. We pull back into the golden cross, sets up a beautiful buying opportunity for a move up to 5,000 and slightly beyond. But like I said, the bear market is not over. I'm still expecting sub $3,000 prices for Bitcoin. I would just love to get out at around 5.5, sometime next year. Okay, though probably sometime this year because I want to bank in the tax loss. So I will probably be exiting at the year end just to bank in the losses on my taxes. Okay, 60-minute chart. I don't really care unless the I got 3 minutes to go. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to get to your questions. And I really want to look at the traditional markets. Yeah, nothing interesting here. Nothing interesting here. Well, something interesting here, but I don't want to talk about it. Do it on your own. GBTC has opened. I think it's a delayed quote. We're up to 446. Good. Yeah, no, that's good. My position is doing well. My GBTC position is doing well. I wish I could have doubled it down yesterday, but not yesterday, 2 days ago, but I missed it. Okay, so the S&P futures are not looking good. We can also look for a target here, right? So here are the S&P futures. So if I grab one of these ranges, right, and I look at how long this range was. How long was this range? About 190 points, okay? So we can now take this, we can copy it, we can paste it, we can grab it, and we can move it, okay? We are almost at target from the range. So we are looking for $190 point correction down to about 24.30. And if we look on a weekly chart, look right here, this line is a little lower than 2,400. So again, that's the ultimate correction that I'm looking for. This is the daily version of the S&P 500 is not looking good. Like I said, when we broke down from this range, it was all over. I mean, the stock market is barely down for the year, though. We just had a big run up this year, and then we lost it all. So it's a dead year for the S&P 500. Again, I am bearish. The charts are bearish. That's why I'm bearish. As far as the economy goes, I don't think it's that bad, to be honest with you guys. And I'm still expecting the stock market to go way, way higher in the near future. I do not believe that the catastrophe is imminent. But hey, if they really want to eliminate Trump, then they want to have everybody lose their jobs just to spite Trump. I mean, it is what it is. Oil continues to go down. I'm not surprised in this market a little bit. So oil's going down. Gold, let me see. If the market starts to get catastrophic, gold should also be falling because people will have to sell their gold to feed their family. Gold is staying up there, but I think it's limited. I think this trend line is going to be problematic. Let's look at some stocks. Just walk through it. Amazon is holding, but it's looking terrible. Very bearish posture. Google is holding up, but if once this line breaks, again, Google bearish posture. Apple might be bouncing soon because Apple stayed bearish. Apple might be getting close to oversold. It should bounce. I think Netflix is looking at a very bad looking descending triangle. Looks like it wants to break down. Tesla was the darling of the bear market here. But it looks like Tesla is running up at an end. That's a reversal candle, but it's not looking good. Facebook bounced today. Oh, that's nice. I got it's funny. I do have a position in Facebook, and yesterday was not a good day, but it's a hedged options position, and this is good actually. I'll know. Today's Thursday. I may have to exit my position today at this price because I don't want to lose money on this position. And I got to check if I already got executed. I lowered mine because I was down. I would have been down big this morning, but back at this price, I'm back in the green. But I lowered my exit on my profit, so I might be out already. I have no clue. I'll check. But like I said, I don't like to make trades that lose me money. And right now, this trade is not losing me money. Right now, this trade is making me money. The question is, did I already get out above my break even, but not at the price, but not at the reward I wanted. And finally, this is the same thing. Okay, so what is this then? Wait, that's the indices watch list, and this is the U.S. stocks watch list. Okay, so if that's the indices watch list, so I don't confuse myself next time, the last thing I'm going to do before I sign off is go to the indices watch list. And for my friends in Australia, we'll take a look at their stock market. Man, I got to close a lot of these tabs. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, this is bad, guys. That is bad. You just broke down. And I'm sorry for your loss, but it looks like pain is about to begin because that is a red 3 daily after a red 2, breaking the prior swing lows. Boy, oh, that's bad. And weekly, oh boy, that does not look good at all. Oh, that sucks. All right. Anyway, you know what to do. You attended my workshop. Thank God I talked. I know one of you from making. Anyway, never mind. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna stop this. Oh no! Before I stop the screen share, one last look at the Unconfiscatable conference. Maybe let me refresh. I don't know why these pictures aren't loading, but they will later today. There may be one seat, or maybe like 2 or 3 seats left at the carnival dinner. There's very little. It's basically a dinner with the speakers. That's what it is. It's a dinner with the speakers, and here are your speakers. I'm trying to get you more speakers, but it's hard. It's around the holidays. I don't know. The first time you do a conference, it's always challenging. The next one should be significantly better because we're going to have 9 months to plan the next one, maybe even a full year. Yeah, Doug Polk is definitely playing in the poker tournament. We are going to open up more poker tournament spots soon for 0.1 Bitcoin. That's definitely coming. All right, guys, I'm over my time. Thank you so much. I'm loving the new haircut, by the way. I'm actually deciding, do I want to get a little mohawk going, or do I actually, why am I wearing these? Jimmy's not on anymore. I found one by the dip shirt. I found one because they lost us. Wuling Airlines lost all my clothes. Don't ever fly Wuling. I'm actually pissed at them because they're not working with me to actually reimburse me for my clothes because they don't want to find their own paperwork. They need me to find them the original paperwork, which I don't have because I've been traveling for 4 months. Anyway, I'll rant about that shitty airline later. But anyway, I found one by the dip shirt, and hopefully I'll be wearing it more strategically next time. All right. I will talk to all you guys on the next one. I think I'm debating about like fully shaving my head with a razor. So maybe we'll do that, whatever. All right, guys, talk to you all later.